Welcome to the first episode of the Beyond Fat Loss podcast, where we don't just stop at fat loss, you'll learn all about the good stuff that follows. How to build muscle, how to enjoy more food, and to stay lean without going to extremes. We are your hosts, Sean and Katie, and we're going to tell you why we're here and what this podcast is all about.
And let's be 100% honest. We're here because we're a bit pissed off. And ma'am, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry for swearing. But why are we pissed off? Because over the last few years, we've watched the industry we are incredibly passionate about fail on so many fronts. And just to be clear, there are still many incredible coaches out there that are doing a fantastic job at teaching people how to take control of their training and nutrition, making it easy for them and providing some amazing results. There are great educators out there like Lane Norton, Eric Helms, Lauren Colenso-Sample, I hope I've said her name correctly, but that's just to name a few. If you look in the right places, you'll find amazing support and guidance.
But if you don't already know who to look out for, the fitness industry can be a real minefield. Half the time you can't tell what's real anymore with the amount of content AI is writing and churning out on a daily basis. We have influencers getting huge amounts of recognition with no qualifications, with no experience of working with others, and they're quite frankly giving advice on things they aren't qualified to give.
You see videos that are the most popular when you load up social media, not necessarily the videos with the most accurate information. These are grifters making millions of shitty training plans and supplements that do nothing because they are preying on vulnerable people in their marketing.
It's really hard to know who to trust. But by the end of this podcast, we hope that you will feel like you can trust us. Because fundamentally, we have and we always will be coaches who care. And we want the best, not just for our members, but for anyone who we come into contact with. We don't care as much about being right as we do about doing the right thing. We're not perfect. We'll be the first ones to hold our hands up and admit that. But we're actively working with clients. We're still learning through different qualifications. And we're still making progress in our own journeys too. And that makes us different from a lot of the people that have got so far. They've got massive social media followings, massive presence online, and they're just believed because of who they are, regardless of whether what they're doing is helping others or whether the information is accurate or not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Sean. And I think, unfortunately, in the fitness world, there's a lot of information that gets portrayed that's based a lot on bias, on their own personal bias, what's worked for them, what may have worked for a couple of other people that they know, but isn't necessarily based on any research papers or any evidence. And then that can lead to some people feeling like they're failing and fitness will never work for them because that particular method or that particular protocol didn't work for them. But there could have been a good reason for that, right?
And we don't want to make this all doom and gloom because myself and Katie have learned some amazing things over the years that we've applied with our clients and we've applied with our own journeys. And it's helped us a hell of a lot to get the results we've got. And we've learned these on the internet. We've learned these from the evidence-based professionals that have given us their time and their information. It's just that nowadays, with the popularity of social media, with how easy it is to get a message out there, and also the way that, you know, that famous word that everyone loves, the algorithms work, the content that perhaps sometimes isn't the most evidence-based or the most accurate content gets noticed more than good quality information. If it provokes a really strong emotional response in the audience, or if it's highly critical over a method which people used to believing, or there's just somebody presenting it that's got a lot of personality and they really stand out, that content can go much further and reach much more people. And the average person that's interested in fitness doesn't know how to differentiate between good and bad information. If it's presented to them with enough authority, and if it's presented to them with enough reasons behind it, whether those reasons make sense or not, they will listen to it.
And it's not really their fault either, right? Because there's so much information out there now, so much. It's hard to know what information is relevant for you as an individual when you've got an influencer telling you one thing that is going to make it 10 times better if you do it this particular way. And then you've got the evidence-based individual telling you the same thing they've told you for the last 10 years, which is probably going to work, right? Right information usually hangs around, sticks around. You keep doing it over and over and over again.
It has
you
track
get a good
record.
route. It has track record, yeah, absolutely.
Eventually it gets sniffed out if it's incorrect information.
But our brains as humans like new information. We like new methods. We like new shiny objects. And it can be hard sometimes then to not gravitate towards that.
Absolutely. So what do we think fitness needs right now? Where are we at with fitness?
There's a lot of things I think we can chat about here. And I think the first thing I'd like us to chat about, Sean, is human to human connection. I think especially with the online world now, and we work in the online world, right? But with the online world in terms of social media, how life is now and how the future is going to be with technology, it's really important not to lose the human to human connection in fitness.
I think the difficulty with fitness, right, is we can have all the information presented to us. We can have all the structure, all the systems. We can be told what to do. But the person that is most responsible for creating the changes and for doing the work that needs to be done is you as an individual. So essentially, anybody that you listen to, anybody that you take advice from, anybody that you're coached by has a responsibility to make that process as simple, as easy, as understandable as possible. But it'll always be you that's responsible for doing the work. We live in a day and age where we've got an abundance of information. We've got millions and millions and millions of people telling us what to do and how to do it. We've got AI now that can very easily solve most simple problems on a basic level with just a quick search, and it will tell you what to do. It will tell you how to do certain things. But it's still not really solving the deeper problems, which are, why aren't I able to apply this? How do I overcome this barrier that I have that's preventing me? I know what to do. It's everywhere for me to see. So what's holding me back? And that's where the human element comes in. That's the part which AI can't replace. That's the part where, influencers cannot replace that. That requires human to human connection. That requires more leadership. That requires critical thinking skills. And we're more likely to develop things like critical thinking skills if we're taught them by somebody that we know. We have a lot of trust in them. They have a lot of track record of doing this themselves or helping others to do this. They're likable, because let's be honest, who the hell do we listen to that we don't like? Like, if you don't like somebody, you're not going to listen to them, regardless of how good their information is. They're just going to give you the ick. That favorite word of yours, Katie. Whenever Katie hears a word, it gives me the ick. I just look at her and I could tell she's got the ick. The word itself gives her the ick. But yeah, that's the reality. If you don't like somebody, you're not going to listen to them. And if they're not displaying the traits and the characteristics that you want to have, or if they haven't achieved the result that you want to achieve, or they're not living the lifestyle that you want to have, then you're very unlikely to want to listen to their information. That's a human to human connection that won't be replaced by AI. There's not going to be, there's no point a 20-year-old telling somebody that's in their 30s has been training for 10 years that all their methods they're doing in the gym are wrong when the 20-year-old has barely got started.
There's no connection there. And I think that's what's important, is that we like to feel seen, we like to feel heard, and let's be honest, valued by others. And to allow that to happen, that human to human connection is really, really important. That can be difficult to foster online when we can only get people's attention for 15 to 30 seconds. And that's hard for individuals that you're on the other end as well, the ones that are taking in the information, to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel connected, because it doesn't happen in that quick of a period.
No, a relationship takes longer to build than that. You don't, well, some people do, but you don't go on a dating app and instantly end up in bed with somebody within 10, 15 minutes. I mean, some do, but that relationship is not going to last very long. That's not built on very strong foundations. And fitness should not be a 15-minute endeavor. It should be something that you try and keep up for the rest of your life. And if you want to make these changes and you want to have these habits to last a lifetime, then you're going to need to take some time to build them. There's a lot that you perhaps need to unlearn before you can even start learning new things. So if you don't have a really good relationship with another human being that understands the difficulty and the struggle and the need for patience with that, then it's going to make it much harder for you to apply those changes.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think you touched upon experience there. And that's a big thing, right? Because you only really learn what works for you as an individual through experience. But to have the courage sometimes to take the step into the unknown, to trial something different, to experience something new, you're more likely to do that if you're in a position where you trust the person that is giving you that advice. You're going to feel more supported. You're going to feel more empowered to give it a go, because that person may have already gone through that experience and can share a lot of wisdom with you.
Or let's be honest, like, I've coached many, many females. There are many parts of their journey which I cannot experience. I cannot experience a menstrual cycle. I cannot experience bouncing back from pregnancy. Those are not things which I personally can experience. But because of the connection and the relationship I have had with my female clients over the years because I've got to know them as people, because I've tried to put myself in their shoes, because I've tried to understand them. Having that human to human connection means that whilst I can never fully say I know exactly what you're dealing with, I have a really, really good idea. And any of the female clients that I work with now will back that up, that I understand some of the struggles that they have, perhaps more than a random person on the internet would, because even though I'm a male, I've listened, I've heard, I've got the information from them that has helped me to sort of experience what they're experiencing.
That's it. You just said that. That is your experience. So you have earned those stripes in that place. You've been through that, not directly, but indirectly. So you have gained experience in that scenario as such, and how and ways to manage, overcome it, how to think about it.
And that's extremely valuable because it means that I can relate to that, because even though I haven't experienced it myself, I can draw upon the experience of others that I have helped and the similarities to that. And I can show relatability through them. I often use some of my female clients as examples to other female clients because it's valuable to have the experience of somebody else available to you when you need it. And that gives me more confidence to be able to connect with somebody on a human to human level, even though I haven't directly experienced something myself. So it's not always your individual experience either that you draw upon. And that's one of the beauties of being a coach. And one of the things that I absolutely love about what we do is we get access to so many different experiences that aren't necessarily always our own.
You're absolutely right. And it is an element of the coaching that I absolutely love, because no journey, no client is exactly the same. Your journey to my journey isn't the same. What we experience isn't the same. There are lots of those methods that we both use, our clients use and follow. But when you break it down on a deeper level, the experiences that everyone goes through is very different. And that can easily be lost online and in the fitness world, not just online, in the fitness world, which can make people feel unheard, unseen, and like potentially there isn't an option for them out there. And that's absolutely not the case and shouldn't be the case. Working in fitness, and one of the things I love about working in this job, is that you can help people feel empowered, that they can build that confidence in their own decisions and how they run their own life. They may not feel like it in the moment when you start working with them, but step by step, building block by, they get there. And that, just watching someone really grow into this character that they are so proud of being, there's no other job like it. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
And you wouldn't feel that way if you didn't establish human to human connection.
Absolutely not. You wouldn't get that connection. You wouldn't get that feeling, that understanding, that, I guess, reward from helping that person, right?
Yeah. Because let's not beat around the bush. Like, we get paid for what we do as coaches. It's our job, it's our career. But the value that we get back isn't transactional.
What makes me get up out of bed in the morning?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is for a lot of coaches. It's a lot for a lot of the fitness industry at the moment. That's why we have so many things that are being missold. That's why we have sleazy sales tactics, and why we have marketing that's all based around fear mongering and really pushing your buttons to the point where you feel like you have no other option but to sign up. But for coaches that work, I would say probably especially on a one-to-one level, or have had experience of at least working with people on a one-to-one level, that connection to somebody else's journey, it can't be replicated. Their success, you kind of experience their success through them, which is amazing. And it's a lovely feeling to have.
It really is. It really is. And I think that leads us nicely onto the next point about the fitness industry and what we think potentially needs to change. Not potentially, does need to change. And that's less bullshit.
100%.
Do you agree?
100%. I mean, it's one of the biggest failures of the fitness industry is that there isn't a regulation body that can control the content that gets put out to the media. And it goes into that space where it's like, freedom of speech. Like, I don't believe in freedom of speech that's designed to misinform and cost people time, money, effort, emotional security. I don't believe that this stuff is meant to help people. I think it's out there to try and catch people out. It's no different to a scam. Like, it's no different to somebody ringing you up and asking to give your bank details because, you've got a long lost cousin that's left you $1 million pounds, and if you give your bank details, you're going to transfer it in. That's essentially what some of these coaches are doing now. They're spreading misinformation. There is an abundance of evidence to the contrary of what they're claiming, and yet they don't want to see it. They build a cult following that also don't want to see it because their bias is towards that thing either working or just being better than everything else. And it's spoiling what could be such a helpful and developmental space. It's hard to spot what really is the bullshit because a lot of these individuals, as we've said, build such a great following, such a brand reputation for what they do that even when the information is false, it's not picked out.
And it's usually not picked out because some of the changes that they do with said method will drive a particular outcome, right? Like, for example, carbs are bad, carbs make you fat, cut them out. Anyone who cuts those out of their diet are going to lose weight. They're going to lose body fat because they're eating less food. But people can easily overlook the fact that it's just because they've had less food and cling on to the fact that carbs are bad, carbs make you fat. And that's just one example in the fitness industry, right? And there's a bloody loads of them out there. But if some individuals, business owners, money makers, whatever you want to call them, really lean into the notion that carbs are bad, carbs are fat, I've got the magic answer, follow me, they're going to get results because of the way it's done, but it's not spreading accurate information, and it's also then breeding a really bad relationship for people with food, with a macronutrient that can provide you a lot of benefits, right?
I think the term, it pays for them not to understand it. Because they don't understand this, and because they claim what they claim is true, and then they got some evidence because it's not the carbs that have caused the person to lose fat. It's the fact that they've been in a calorie deficit by removing carbs from their diet. But they can then claim it's the carbs. They have something that's marketable. They have something that they can claim is a proven method and a proven strategy. Then what they will do is they'll look for confirmation that this works without doing what they should be doing, which is also looking to disprove their own beliefs, which is what any evidence-based professional would do. They look to disprove their bias. And if they can't find a reason to disprove their bias, then they can probably stick with their original opinion. But if you only cherry pick information that confirms what you think you know, and you find the odd research paper involving a few rats in a lab somewhere, confirms what you think you know, and you start pushing that out there, you get deeper and deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of thinking you're right. And then you can keep pushing that information, and you know people are going to sign up with you. So you don't want to look for the alternative. You don't want to try and understand why this actually works or what's really happening in the human body to cause that person to lose fat. You just go with the easiest possible solution that's marketable, that's easy to sell. It gives you an enemy to blame, and people will get on board with that because it's too complex for them to understand what really happens.
There's clear, fast, hard rules, right? It's black and white. It's, okay, all I got to do is cut that out. I'm going to lose weight. Great. Simple, easy to follow.
This is disempowering people though, right?
Yes.
It's absolutely disempowering people because they could end up with a long-term bias towards a particular food group, like carbohydrates, for example. Let's continue with that example. They could end up with a long-term bias of that being bad for them. So what happens then when they try and build muscle in 6 months' time after they're done with fat loss and they need to start fueling with more energy and they're trying to eat more calories? Where are those calories going to come from? They can't just keep eating more protein because it's a really inefficient food source. They keep eating fat, but have you ever tried eating just a purely high-fat and high-protein diet? Like, it's really difficult to do. They're going to need to get some carbohydrates in.
But now they fear carbs because they don't want to get fat. They don't want to gain fat. They don't want to put themselves in that position to undo all of the hard work that they've done already. So then they hit a roadblock. And then they've got to unlearn all of these understandings of carbs that isn't even accurate. They've got to unlearn that, then expose them to eating carbohydrates, which is already a really fearful position for them, when that didn't even have to happen in the first place. Eventually,
you're going to hit a roadblock, right? If you've been given misinformation, then eventually you're going to hit a roadblock. It's going to reveal itself in some way. And think about how many, and I say women, it's not just women, but it's particularly women. Think about how many women have had misinformation over the years about what certain foods do to them from slimming clubs and diet clubs, and how they're still feeling nowadays that they can't step on the scales and see the number change without almost having a panic attack because of the beliefs that they've held and what's been drilled into them for probably decades. These things last. They cause damage. They cause scarring. And they actually limit you from making decisions which are going to be more health positive moving forwards, like eating more food and being able to train harder in the gym, like being able to build some muscle, which is going to support your longevity and support your health long term. What else does the fitness industry need right now? It needs less extremes, in my opinion.
Ties into that point as well, though, right? Isn't it? Less bullshit, less extremes.
They're often tied together.
They are. You know, like with that carb example, that is an extreme. Cutting out a whole macronutrient group, that is an extreme. There are far too many extremes being thrown out there in the fitness world with a lack of understanding around why they've been opted for a particular extreme, for example. And there are, depending on your goals, right? Because this could go on a whole other rabbit hole right now. Depending on your goals, there's going to be different recommendations, advice given for your training, for your nutrition, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on your goals, how long you've got to achieve them, etc., etc., etc. This can go on and on and on. Your relationship with food in the past compared to someone else's. There's so many factors that go into what advice you should have as an individual that cannot be found or given or received just from some reels on Instagram or some TikTok videos, because you're a human, you're complex, and going to some extremes is most likely not going to be the wise option for you long term.
It's not even just the sustainability issue. It's the fact that these extremes don't teach you how to build habits that you actually can get up and do on a daily basis, regardless of everything that's going on, regardless of what stage you're at in life. If your only option is to rely on an extreme to get a particular result, then you either have to forcibly make yourself do something that might not fit at a certain time frame, or you have to keep waiting for the perfect moment to act upon anything. Because going to extremes are really difficult. It's really difficult. It's very restrictive. Circumstances really have to be managed well. You're probably going to find that even basic things like where you go out to socialize, who you're able to spend your time with, things like meal times, things like, you know, your working patterns, all of that have to be factored into this. The day-to-day stuff, which a lot of people struggle to manage well anyway, even with a less extreme diet, for example. So think about how much time you are either unable to go to extremes for, or think about how little of your life you will actually get the benefit of these extremes for.
I agree. And I think it's important to note here, actually, Sean, with the extremes, right? Because there may be a particular point in your life, a particular phase, that the scale does tip to a bit more of the extreme side of things to drive a particular outcome. And that's okay. That's more than okay, right? Otherwise, the athletes would never get to where they want to get to. But you still want to be armed in that situation to understand how you get out of that, to transition out of that. Because if you don't and you can't do that, it's really easy to get lost in the extremes and not knowing how to balance that with your everyday habits.
Well, like a prime example is that you might look at somebody that's, let's take a bodybuilder example, right? It's a simple one that most people can imagine in their heads. You look at bodybuilding and go, a bodybuilder lives to the extremes. The bodybuilder hasn't gone from 0 to 80 miles per hour, and now they're living at that 80 mile per hour extreme. They probably started off somewhere where they had to progress up to wanting to do that at that level. They probably added and gained speed and gained momentum as time has gone on, where over time they've gone further and further and further down the rabbit hole, and now they're at more of an extreme compared to the average person, the average gym goer, the average member of the population. They rarely go from 0 to 80, and they certainly don't go from 80 to 0 when they're not chasing that most extreme measure. So the point is that you don't just naturally just flick it on like a light switch. And this is what a lot of these diets encourage you to do. This is what a lot of these extreme training protocols teach you to do. Like they don't teach you how to keep habits, because they're not designed to build habits. They're designed to make you do something for a very short period of time to get an accelerated result for a short period of time, but then it stops. There's no support for what to do after it. There's no support on what habits you need to keep. You can't keep the habits going that you were doing for the extreme period, because, well, half of them are ridiculous. Like, you're going to eat like that for the rest of your life? You're going to train like that for the rest of your life? It's like these stupid things like 75 hard. Like, I can't stress enough how silly this concept is. Training multiple times per day, every single day for 75 days. Like, professional athletes aren't encouraged to do this because they know the importance of recovery. They know the importance of longevity in their careers. They know the importance of sustainability. They know how important it is not for them to get injured doing something that's highly unrealistic. So why do members of the general public think that this is going to be a good idea for them? And it's like, oh, I use it as a kickstart. I use it to build momentum. But it's not a kickstart and building momentum. You're throwing yourself right in at the deep end and you haven't learned to swim without your armbands yet.
But this is what's wrong with the fitness industry, right? There's who even created the 75 hard? Is it Gymshark? What is it?
No, Gymshark do that, Gymshark 60s.
I know what's included in it, I just didn't know where it came from. And I kind of just, rightly or wrongly, switched it off in my brain because I do think it is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. But that's allowed to circulate, and there's been many people that have tried that. I've had many clients that have tried that, felt like absolute shit after doing it, hated then training, found it very hard to get back into some kind of momentum because it was just hell to go through, and didn't even finish it because it's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, so where's the sense of accomplishment if you burn out halfway through and can't finish it?
So these extremes are another reason why we're so passionate about spreading our beliefs and thoughts and experiences in the fitness world, because there is a way out there for everyone to make health and fitness work for them. There's just a lot of misinformation, a lot of extremes, and a lot of really simplified methods and tools being overcomplicated. I think all of the waffle just needs to be cut out.
Absolutely.
People cut it all out, because people just need to know what they need to do, why it works for them, so that they can decide whether that's right or wrong for them in their life.
All the technical jargon, all the complexity, it's like you're not talking to a classroom of PhD students. Like, nobody gives a crap about how the mechanisms of hypertrophy really work or how muscle protein synthesis is really triggered. Like, there's so few people out there that actually care about that content. And if your niche and your audience is that content and you're educating on that particular content, then fantastic, fair play to you, keep doing it. But coaches are throwing these terms out there that are just adding to confusion. They're just making things unnecessarily complex. What do people really need to know about building muscle? What do they really respond well to? Like, what does the data show that works for people of different training levels, different age groups, different genders, and consistently can be applied across? Things like training close to failure, things like making sure you're doing enough sets each week, things like training to full range of motion. All of these things have been proven time and time again to work. And I know sometimes that sounds boring, and I know sometimes social media isn't going to push your videos and algorithms out there to reach more people because it's not sounding complex enough. People are worried about sounding less authoritative because they're talking about stuff that is relatively basic to them, but it's not basic to everyone else. And it's not necessarily about what you're telling people to do. It's not necessarily about how basic the principles are. It's about how well you can encourage and simplify them for other people so that they're able to do them.
So they don't get lost, they don't get confused, they don't start questioning every action that they're doing. It's our responsibility as coaches, it's our duty to make this easier for everyone, not add to the confusion. We are here to do the legwork and the understanding and the deeper dive knowledge, I know, and that's up to us as coaches how far we take that, of course it is. But then it's our role to take what we know into the world in a simplified way to empower people to take control of their health and fitness.
What's one thing that we think everyone can benefit from that fitness could do a better job of teaching people at the moment?
Open access to everyone for building muscle, not just for bodybuilders. And I think I fell a little bit, not so much fell, maybe got trapped, maybe didn't quite understand bodybuilding. Always thought it was for the people that were going to jump up on stage, you know, take their physique to an extreme, and full credit to them, they do a fantastic job. It's not easy getting there. But building muscle should be for everyone, absolutely everyone. We have absolutely undeniable evidence that building muscle and being stronger not only has a huge amount of health benefits and is likely to make us live longer, but the quality of life improves as well. It's not just, don't get me wrong, physique transformation is a huge part of physique transformation, and that's, you know, part of where our passion really lies and we get excited about. But that aside, what it can give back to you in terms of your health, your day-to-day life, your longevity, your quality of life, it's just, I can't even begin to say how impactful it can be.
building muscle is probably the best thing you can do to future-proof your body, but it also has benefits in the here and now. Like the benefits can be realized in a very, very short space of time. I know physically, like aesthetically, it might take a little bit of a while to see those changes, but everything you start to do on a day-to-day basis, once you've built a bit of muscle, becomes easier. Like aches and pains that you've had for ages will start to go away. You feel stronger, you don't tire as quickly when you're performing certain tasks. Like just everything is made easier. Aesthetically, as time goes on, you'll notice changes. You'll notice how your body shape changes. You'll notice how you fit in your clothes differently. You notice definition and shapes in places that weren't previously there. And for those that are really into building a physique and physique transformation, and perhaps are on the spectrum of wanting to look a bit more like a bodybuilder somewhere without going all to the extremes, then you'll know the power of what building muscle can do for your physique and how your confidence works. But just for the average person, I think most people seriously underestimate how much benefit you're going to get from just a couple of hours a week of lifting weights with a bit of intensity, and how much that's going to propel your life in a direction that you've probably never experienced before.
Absolutely. I just can't see many reasons for anyone to not do it. Anyone. Any age, any gender, anything.
I can see a reason why people shouldn't do it.
Why?
Because I think fitness has built this huge canyon and gap between the average person that's just starting out on their muscle building journey and elite level bodybuilding.
That I do agree with.
I think that's like when you say like what is the reason for not starting? All the evidence and all the data is there to show why everyone should be doing this. Let's be clear, there might be certain times in your life where like you've just had a young baby, you're a single mum, you've just gone through a major surgery or a major treatment, or there could be a massive life change going on. You could be caring for a family member like 24/7. There's all these different times where, okay, you might not be able to do as much of this right now as what you'd like to, but you can still pick this up. Like hopefully that doesn't last forever, and you can pick this up at any time. You can go back to it any time, right? Like that's just a time dependent circumstance. I think people are put off starting. I think people are put off even continuing this because the bar they set themselves is looking at elite level bodybuilding. The images that we see online on social media and the physiques we see on social media every single day are extreme examples of what an average well-trained person looks like.
Yeah, I fully agree. And it can be really deceiving and off-putting, right?
Like how often do you walk? We went to our local pub for food the other night, right? The pub was absolutely rammed. You couldn't move in there. There wasn't a seat free. There wasn't a table free. They had a comedy show on in the beer garden. Must have been nearly 100 people sat in the beer garden on the benches out the back. Absolutely rammed. How many people in that pub were somebody that went to the gym on a regular basis and looked really muscular?
Don't really see it.
Six Nations start in a couple of weeks. Tens of thousands of people in the city centre, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people in the city centre. How many people do you tend to see that are in really, really, really good shape?
In comparison to what you see online, if you open up your feed and search gym, for example, or whatever, you don't even search gym, you just need to go on your feed, right? You see all of these in shape people everywhere, absolutely everywhere, with pump on, six pack, ripped, in the amazing lighting, wherever it may be, you see loads of it. But in everyday life, you don't. Even
when you go to the gym, you see lots of people that are training, you see lots of people that have muscle, you see lots of people that are working hard on their bodies and deserve the credit for it, but you don't see that many extremes. You don't see them very often. If you go to a specific bodybuilding style gym, then you'll find these individuals. You'll find these people. You'll see more of these people. But when you're going about your day-to-day life, you very rarely see people like that. It's just we have this image presented to us every single day when we go on social media, when we go on our phones. It's normal to look like that, and it's really not. That's a completely abnormal result. You're talking the smallest possible percentile of the population that look like that.
And even those people that look like that in that particular moment for that particular photo don't look like that every minute of that day.
No.
And they don't even look that, what am I going to call it, shredded, ripped, whatever you want to say. Because a lot of these photos capture it in great lighting with the shadows so that the deftness is showing. So it just
They're designed to look incredible.
They're meant to look eye-catching.
Yes. They're meant to stand out. They're meant to be the ones that everyone is liking and sharing on social media. That's the whole purpose of it. It's something so extreme and abnormal. It's no different to a building with incredible architecture or an animal that has the most incredibly beautiful colors. It's no different. It's something that stands out so much compared to the norm that it then becomes seen on a much more regular basis. So yeah, I do think that disheartens a lot of people. And I do think that shouldn't discourage you from starting, but I acknowledge that it does. And it shouldn't discourage anyone from wanting to build muscle, but it does.
Yes, I think I still don't retract my statement about I don't see a reason for anyone not to build muscle. I still think it is for everyone to have the benefits of building muscle, right? Having more muscle mass, being stronger, because the benefits are endless. But I do think the fitness world has potentially hindered or prevented or stopped a lot of people wanting to explore that because they're so far away from what is seen as, I guess, what you should look like.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's discouraging. That is discouraging. And that's how, again, the fitness world, right? If you're in it for the right reasons, you should be trying to uplift, empower people to explore what habits can have a great impact on them. So we've talked a lot about building muscle and being strong in general, right? And do think that is something everyone should explore and trying to have a habit continuously for the rest of your life, even if there are certain periods of your life you've got to take a step back for certain life events. That's normal, that's natural, that can happen, right? You're not going to lose all your gains because you've got responsibilities elsewhere. But seeing it as a long-term habit,
An investment
is something that I'd encourage anyone and everyone to do. But what about if you do want to take your physique goals a bit further?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like I spoke about that gap and that divide. People that don't have muscle, people that don't train versus elite level bodybuilders. There's a growing space in the middle now for people that are training, that are going to the gym, that are lifting weights, that recognize the importance of the value of that. And then within that population, there are people that do want to take their physiques a little bit further. They do want to get, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, but they do want to get an above average result, right? If the average person holds X amount of muscle mass, they want to have more than the average person. They want to have, they probably would spend more time in the gym training. They'd be prepared to spend more time in their week. It almost becomes like a sport to them. It's like a commitment that they do on a weekly basis. They're perhaps a little bit more aesthetically driven towards that result. What space?
And I think I'd just like to say here, it's okay to have aesthetic goals. It's okay to want that and strive for wanting to make changes to your body. I think we're quite often told we should be happy in who we are, we should be content, we should be okay. But the reality is, it is an option out there to change that if you want to, and push the boundaries a little bit further with your body image if you want to. And that's okay to strive for that, right?
These goals are no less valid than anyone else's goals for anything else. If your goals are to achieve a better aesthetic look, and that's something which you can really connect with, that's something which excites you, it's something that makes you enjoy the process and buy into that process. Like, firstly, training to build muscle, as we've discussed, is one of the best possible investments you can make for your health. If the motivation to do it is more aesthetic, then who cares? Because the outcome that you're getting is going to be a massively beneficial one for the rest of your life. But it's not for anyone to judge anyone else's goals and to say it's less valid. Why is wanting to have a better physique less valid than doing a 3 times bodyweight deadlift? Why is it less valid than wanting to run a marathon? Why is it less valid than wanting to do a triathlon or to complete a high rocks? All of these things are done by individuals who are proud of that being an accomplishment for them. They have accomplished something which they set out to do, they've trained for it, and they've completed it. Just because physique is more visual, and just because so many people are intimidated and judge themselves negatively when they see somebody else in better physique, there seems to be this impression that that goal is more egotistical, that goal is more vain. I think that in some cases people are doing it for attention, but it's not everyone. It's not everyone. And is that looking for more attention than completing your High Rocks event and posting your selfie in front of the time board onto the internet or social media? Is that any different in terms of looking for attention? Is it any less different than somebody who completes a marathon and posts their medal on social media? It's really hard to draw a line and say this is good and this is bad when it comes to what people's goals are. So I think we just need to remove that stigma that people training for aesthetics are selfish, in it for themselves, narcissistic. We just need to remove that altogether and just say, this is their goal. This is what they want. That's for them to decide whether that is a valid goal for them or not. It's not for anyone else to have that opinion.
I agree. And I think it's the most empowering thing you can do for yourself as an individual is be true to yourself and go after the goals that really mean something to you. You don't always have to go really deep about the why behind it. You may just like a particular look. You may just want to see what you're capable of achieving. You may just want to challenge yourself a little bit further, wherever it may be. Just leaning into what you really want and then deciding, do you know what, I'm going to go for it. Just doing the actions every day to work towards that is going to make you feel confident in yourself. It's going to make you feel proud of yourself. It's going to excite you. And that's why do we do anything in life? Because we think we're going to enjoy the outcome. We're going to enjoy the journey. We're going to feel excited. We're going to feel rewarded by something. It has a purpose, right?
That's
it's
it.
a purpose. Be true to your purpose and what you want to achieve, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to wake up every day, complete the actions to whatever the outcome is. If it doesn't fill your belly with fire, if it doesn't excite you, you're unlikely to stay engaged with the process. It's not because you're a failure. It's not because you haven't got willpower. It's because you just don't want it.
Absolutely. It's okay for you to be different. It's okay for you to want a result and for somebody else to not give a damn about that result. That's absolutely fine. And it's okay for you to want a result that stands out a bit as well. If it's different to what most people around you have, then what does it matter? It's for you to decide how far you want to take things and what level you're prepared to push yourself to. I guarantee that if it's a physique goal, you're not the only person that wants a better physique and to feel more confident in themselves. You're not the only person with an ideal image that is slightly unusual to the normal person, that might trigger feelings of, oh, this person's a bit obsessive. This person's living a bit extreme. I could never eat what they eat. It's okay if you want to do that and you want to have that lifestyle. You're not entirely alone, but it's probably a smaller part of the population. We want this. This is what we feel passionate about. We're really fired up by physique transformation in our own training and building more muscle, achieving a better look than what we had last year. That's what we don't have a desire to compete. We don't want to be competitive bodybuilders, but we are really excited by watching ourselves grow and change and develop and testing things that allow us to get a little bit more out of the results we're getting. We love that. And we have a whole community of people who want that too. But it's important to recognize that if your goals are aesthetic and if your goals are to achieve physique transformation, that this is an unusual result. A lot of people aim for that particular result and they don't get close to achieving the result they want to achieve. A lot of people want the result, but they're unable to continually complete the actions that will get them to the result that they really want to achieve. And for the average gym goer, they might not get anywhere near close to the result that you've been working towards over these last few years, because what you want to achieve as your outcome is much more extreme to them than what they want to achieve. And there's a bit more to these extreme results than just being healthy. We're huge health advocates. We care a lot about things like relationship with food, and we care a lot about having an engaging social life outside of fitness. But if you want to achieve a really impressive physique transformation and take your body to levels that it's never gone before, then there will have to be some different decisions made. And you are going to have to put maybe just a little bit more time and a little bit more emphasis on certain areas. And that's our job as coaches, to serve the people that are in that space, to serve the people that don't want to go to the extremes of bodybuilders. There's plenty of coaches for them that aren't necessarily just starting out their journeys and aren't necessarily just getting one foot in the door, because there's a lot of people that are in that space too, but there's also a lot of coaches that are serving that space. Our job and what we do and what we specialize in is to helping people achieve a physique transformation that is much further than what they believe they can achieve on their own. But it's not quite the extremes. And our job is to make this process easier to understand, easier to implement, and to make it enjoyable, to find pleasure and enjoyment in the process itself, not just in the end result.
Yeah, to be honest, Sean, you covered that so well about the space we're in and who we want to help and how we help them. because we are massive health advocates, right? And there's no part of my life or how I coach that I wouldn't promote well-being and your health, because that is ultimately one of the most important factors in life. Because if our health and well-being isn't looked after, then you can ultimately kiss goodbye seeing the other goals, because you might not even get there. You might not even be able to stay consistent long enough to get there if your well-being and health isn't the forefront of your mind all the time. But as we know, and I know particularly from my own journey, just being healthy, doing the healthy habits didn't drive the physique changes that I wanted. And my gosh, I've been strong for many, many, many years now. Lifted weights for many, many years now. I'm 31 now. 31? Yeah, I'm 31 now. I've been lifting weights since I was 15 or 16, right? Can't quite remember when, but it's a long time now. So I've been strong for a long time. I've had healthy habits for a long time. I've maintained my body weight for a long time. But I wanted more. I wanted more from it. I wanted more from my physique to see where I could take it. And this is then that kind of next level, I guess, that excites me. I know it excites you too.
A question for you, Katie.
Yeah.
15 years or so of training.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those years have you really pushed for physique transformation in?
Oh, last 2? Gotta be honest, the years are quite merging into one now, so 2.5, maybe.
And what's the difference?
Oh my gosh, huge, absolutely huge. And honestly, the changes I've made to my day-to-day haven't been huge. No, they haven't at all. It's more about just focusing on the elements that I really need to focus on to drive those changes in what I was already doing. And I think that's what's key. I think a lot of people think they're going to have to add more training sessions on, more hours in the gym, more and more attention to their nutrition to a point where they can't go out for food. They can't have, I don't know, a drink with their partner on the weekend. Whatever it may be, right? All of these fears that we have that we're going to miss out on, probably don't need to miss out on as much as you're thinking. But there was a lot already in my life that was driving that result. I just need to tighten up on a few things and explore a few other methods and systems that would elevate those results. But what I've done day to day didn't really change an awful lot, if I'm honest. And I think for the individuals that are already in that place where gym is like, part of their life, they eat fairly healthy already, then that next level up, it's closer than you think. It really is closer than you think.
It's more a case of just having better targeting than anything else. Like you're probably already doing most of what form the foundation of getting a really impressive physique result, but it just needs to be a little bit more targeted now to get past either the current plateau that you're at or just to give you more time efficiency for what you're currently doing. A lot of the methods which will get you quite far to start off with eventually start getting you much poorer returns as time goes on with your journey, unless those methods are updated a bit. And it's not wholesale changes.
No.
It's small things. And it's no different. This is the thing. This is what's so nice and connects everyone in the fitness journey, right? Even people that are just starting. It's no different. The practice is no different. You have to unlearn some of the habits which are keeping you stuck and stopping you from moving forwards. And you start incrementally building smaller habits, one step at a time, one change at a time, to get the new ones that you want. And that process does not change. It does not change from whether you're literally setting foot in the gym for the first time or you're an elite level athlete that's about to get on stage for a bodybuilding competition. It's still the same thing. Unlearn something that's holding you back. Learn something new that's going to tweak things and adjust and bring you forwards, one step at a time.
And this is where it's important to have that human-to-human connection, right? Because it's hard sometimes to identify those yourself and easier to connect with the person that understands them and can also simplify that for you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly where you're at. This is exactly where you're at in your journey. This is exactly what you need. Here's how we're going to help you to apply it.
Without the bullshit and without the extremes.
100%.
Because I believe, right, there aren't many places you can go these days where you can hear real people talk about this stuff. And we would love you to feel heard and seen whilst listening to us. Because we're very much still in the mix of our own journeys, striving for things ourselves. We are literally living every method, tool, advice that we give out to our clients. We are applying ourselves every day as well.
Our passion isn't shrinking for this. Our passion is growing, if anything. The more time we spend doing what we do, the more our passion grows. I can say that for myself. Like, I'm way more passionate about this now than when I first started. And my passion was great when I first started, but I had a big, massive dip in the middle where the results were not going the way that I wanted them to. I didn't really know what I needed to focus on. I knew that a lot of my habits needed changing, but I wasn't sure how to change them. And my passion just plummeted. But since making the changes and finding the support and the information that I needed, my passion has just grown and grown and grown and grown. And it's still growing now. And you might already have a passion for this. You might be in the process of trying to grow a passion for this. But either way, what we hope you get back from listening to these podcasts is you feel some of the passion in our voice for what we do. You feel some of the passion for how much we care about helping others and just
bringing their vision to life.
What a great way to describe it. So yeah, we hope you have enjoyed this one, and we hope that you will get a lot of value from listening to these podcasts. We've got some amazing things we want to discuss in future episodes. And if you have enjoyed it, then make sure you subscribe and follow this podcast. In the next one, we're going to be talking about...
Drum roll, everyone!
We're going to talk about one big mistake that we both made in our journeys. So we both had slightly different pathways. We've both gone through slightly different mistakes. But there's one big thing that has stood out for both of us that cost us, let's be honest, years and years of progress.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be revealing that in the next podcast. But for now, if you want a bit more of us, if you want to get to know us a little bit better, you can find us on our Instagram page. It's skd_coaching. Hit us up, drop us a follow, drop us a message, and we'll chat to you over there. Thanks for listening.
See you next time, guys.